What's going on, everybody? It's Durka, Whataweeb, bringing you a new Should You Pull video. We're here to discuss the legendary assassin, the Hassan who kills Hassans, also known as Gramps, King Hassan. He's got a lot of names like Old Man in the Mountain, which is how JP calls him, and First Hassan, which is what NA is adopting when bringing him over. But he's a servant a lot of people have been waiting for, and it's time to talk about our Grand Assassin and my personal opinion on him. If you are excited, like, comment, subscribe, become a weeb today. Make sure to check us out on Twitch, Twitter, and Discord. Link to the description below. If you have your own opinions on King Hassan, let me know. Let me know if you have specific team comps you want running, or anything, if you're pulling for him. Hopefully we all get a little lucky when that comes around. But anyway, let's just jump into that card setup. So he has the quick arts Buster card setup, giving us a Buster-oriented 5-star assassin. Yeah, you won't say that like ever. Even with an assassin's damage modifier being a little bit lower, he outputs some great damage. With 5 hits on his quick, 3 on his arts, but he only has 1 on his Buster and 6 on his extra attack, he actually overall has okay and decent NP gen. He has a lot of similarities with Musashi. I think it's kind of crazy that we're getting 2 triple Buster 5-stars, single target 5-stars, in such close proximity. They're both big damage dealers. They try to be crit attackers, so it's kind of interesting to think about. But I wanted to change it up a little bit, and there are some things Hassan can do that Musashi can't. So let's start with the skills, though. Battle Continuation. EX. Grants gut status 1 time for 5 turns. 7-turn cooldown. So Gramps is the only person in the game with an EX rank battle continuation. The closest other person is Shuden Doji with A+. Yeah, Assassin's got the 2 top spots. And she gets 2700 HP back at level 10. Gramps gets 5.5k HP back. King Hassan comes back with pretty much a third of his max potential HP. It's a good skill overall, and it's one of the skills you'll be using while soloing with him for sure. He makes a pretty solid soloer. Alright, moving on to his next skill, Protection of Faith, A+++. I don't know why there's so many pluses, but there are. This skill does a lot. It increases own debuff resist for 3 turns, recovers his own HP, increases his own defense for 1 turn, increases his own attack for 3 turns. On a 5-turn cooldown. And because it does so much, it's not as OP as a self-attack buff usually is, but let's talk about it a little bit. So 100% debuff resist with 2500 heal and a 1-turn 40% defense buff. Usually that would be like a 50% buff, but they knocked it down maybe because the skill does so much. And a 3-turn self 20% attack buff, which would usually be a 30% attack buff, because the skill does so much, they probably knocked it down to 20%. It's a lot though. It's a lot. If that attack buff with 30%, that'd be crazy strong. It'd be crazy strong. But you tie this with the gut skill, and you end up getting like 7k HP back just from those 2 skills if you combine them. That's like half his max HP. You know, you have 2 skills, and this is 2500 heal on a 5-turn cooldown with a defense buff. So you're able to stall it out pretty well. It'll be the other skill that's super important if you want to use him to solo for sure. The 3-turn attack buff on a 5-turn cooldown does help make his damage be a little bit more consistent, more of a medium high. It helps get him out of that whole negative modifier range too. So it's pretty helpful, and it's super important for soloing. And now his 3rd skill, Evening Bell EX. Alright, this is a skill he's known for. It reduces all enemies' instant kill resist for 3 turns and increases his own Buster performance for 1 turn on a 6-turn cooldown. So this might remind you of something like Musashi's skill. I believe it was Empyrean Eye that increases her Buster performance and then lets her break invincibility. Similar concept, he just lowers death resist. Skill, like I said, is a skill he's literally known for. It's meant to be comboed with his NP just more perfectly than maybe any other skill. That's why people meme that Hassan kills the unkillable. You know, he has this instant kill resist reduction that is not really, it's not something that you think, oh wow, this servant can kill people who usually can't be killed. Cool. That's pretty interesting. And then the Buster buff, 50% Buster buff on top of that, it's literally meant for his NP. Literally meant to be used right before you use his NP, and hopefully you get that instant kill off of it. But yeah, no, it's just a very strong skill, and I personally see this as his most important skill because I'm not seeing him as a soloer right now. I'm seeing him as general purpose, and this is just so good for his kit, in my opinion, personal opinion. But, moving on to the passive skills. So he actually has, more than one passive skill. Look at that. Magic resist, as always. Presence concealment, super common on assassins. It's, along with independent action, pretty common on assassins and archers and stuff. Helps increase crit damage. It's always nice. And then, of course, you have presence concealment to help increase crit star, gen, or whatever. Then he has his own personal skill. At the boundary A. This skill makes it so he cannot be instant killed by any effect other than just getting nuked by damage. It makes his charm resistance increase to 100%, and he just has a random 5% chance to instant kill an enemy with a normal attack. It's a really super cool skill, and I really like to see it because it's just tailored to him, right? That's just who he is. He has this specific, special, personal skill, which I really do like to see on 5 stars because it shows that they're giving a little bit of care about the lore and how the character's perceived, how the character feels. And I really do appreciate that. And that skill does all that, and it's a really good defensive option. It's cool. It's just cool, and it's something fun to talk about, unlike magic resist or something. So, but let's talk about that noble phantasm that so many people meme. They meme it. Well, I mean, like his deep voice when he activates Azrael, the angel that announces death. Look at how that looks, man. Just look at how it looks. It's playing right now, but like, look how it looks. That's anti-unit NP. He's like, offer thy head, just die. You're just ready to die. It's a Buster NP, deals damage to one enemy, and has a chance to instant kill them based on overcharge. This is probably one, if not the most fitting NP for a character in the game, based off of story, based off of lore, based off of everything. It works amazingly well with his third skill, like I said. It does decent damage regardless, and you can pull some shenanigans to increase the overcharge as well, which I'll talk about in Team Comp. But, really cool NP. Check it out, try it out. Just use as much as you can because it's so cool. Alright, what about the traits though? So he's got great stats overall. I don't spend too much time on the traits. He's got the second highest attack out of all assassins, which was kind of weird. He just randomly, Shuden has the highest because she's that chief Oni, I guess. But, Shuden's also like the only 5-star assassin that can break 13k base attack with, with all the grails and foes and stuff. But otherwise, his death rate doesn't matter. He has a high death rate, but he can't be instant killed anyways, so it doesn't matter. Yay! Yay! Alright, let's talk about the CEs. As always, we bring it down to 3 CEs. I know you've been seeing it often, but Joint Recital, great CE. The Demonic Kiara CE, I'm forgetting the name from the top of my head. And Victor of the Moon. A max limit broken Victor of the Moon and a max limit Joint Recital, in my eyes, are pretty interchangeable. It's just you're trading 5% on one thing for another thing. And I personally don't have a max limit broken Joint Recital, as you may know. So I don't think I have a max limit broken Victor of the Moon either. But that's a different story. They're both very good because they give him Buster and crit damage. That's the two things he loves to have, and it works. The Demonic Kiara CE that just came out recently gives him that NP overcharge. That, along with Edison's third skill, lets him hit 500% overcharge so much easier. So if you're trying to do some sort of death comp, that's probably your best way to go about it. It's not something that you shouldn't do, but it's something cool you could do for some bosses and everything. Limited over 0, always good on these Buster servants. But like, he's just so good with crit damage too that you're missing out a little bit if you don't have some sort of crit damage buff. But party members, like I said earlier, his team comps and everything, he shares a lot of similarities with Musashi. You can run him with Zerkers and with Merlin Waver, but I wanted to add some different servants this time around. You can use Leonidas as someone to tank and give a Buster buff to him. So Leonidas is one of the best low-tier servants, in my opinion, for a Buster team comp. He gives a full Buster buff. He has a damage focus on himself. And his Noble Phantasm just creates so many stars. I think it creates like 25 stars, correct me if I'm wrong, at max level. Leonidas is great. Really good servant. If you guys haven't leveled him up, I definitely suggest it. I can't wait to use him some more. Yeah, sorry, I spent a little bit too much time. I just love Leonidas. So Edison. Edison is for that overcharge shenanigans that I mentioned earlier. Shakespeare for that big Buster buff he can provide. And I'm going to mention Nobu Zerker again for obvious reasons, because she has that amazing skill that provides stars, HP, and NB. Just that skill of hers is so good. Of course, Merlin Waver, that comp works for him too. It's pretty brain dead. You use the Buster buff on him. Yeah, that's the only thing you gotta remember to do. That's the only thing you gotta remember to do. But yeah, so he works really well as a crit assassin with triple Buster cards, and which helps balance out his negative modifier. And with proper support, he is a huge threat. Huge threat. All right, so we made it. Should you pull for the First Hassan, King Hassan, Gramps, whatever you want to call him? I'm going to start this by saying I personally believe the best assassin in the game is Jack the Ripper. Jack is just so good at creating stars, can output pretty good damage, has a targetable heal, and a buff removal. She adds a lot of value to a lot of teams that need a way to generate stars and just general utility. But King Hassan has a completely different usage in mind. A lot of people always have you're always gonna have people say, "Oh, Hassan's the best. No, Jack's the best." But they do completely different things. He's there to nuke and Buster me and insta kill, and he does it pretty well. I would say, in my own personal opinion, he is the second best assassin in the game. I see more value out of Jack because of that crit star generator. But if you need someone to just do massive damage and work with your Merlin, you're gonna go with King Hassan. Definitely better. Definitely better choice. And since we don't have Scotty yet, we only have Merlin. You could argue that him and Jack are still, maybe like tied for top spot for assassins. That's my personal opinion for him right now. For that reason, I say pull for him. If you don't have a 5-star assassin, since honestly they're so rare, you can only get Jack from pulls normally. You will not be disappointed. You will not be disappointed if you pull him. And even if you do have Jack, but maybe you have Merlin, right? If you have Merlin, he's an amazing choice. He works perfectly with Merlin. His voice, his design are amazing. And in the story itself, he's awesome. And he lives up to the hype. He does do what he's supposed to. He does a lot of damage. Super dark, super cool. Skeleton bone Gramps. He's awesome. I hope you guys are able to pull him if you choose to. Personally, I am not pulling for him on my main account, but we will be pulling for him on the Twitch Plays FGO account, because that was that's what everybody voted for. So look forward to that. I hope you guys get some luck on that banner. If you have any opinions or anything that you think about King Hassan that could be mentioned, feel free to put it in the comment section below. But otherwise, this has been Durka, Whataweeb, and Sayonara.